Have you ever wondered what wisdom lies in the spaces between life's greatest experiences? Love, joy, sorrow, and even death. Imagine hearing timeless insights from a prophet as he prepares to depart after spending 12 years sharing his life with a city. This is the story and profound wisdom found in The Prophet. The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran is a spiritual classic that has inspired readers for nearly a century. In this beautifully written book, the main character, Al-Mustafa, shares his deep reflections on life's most important topics: love, marriage, children, work, freedom, and more, just before he sets sail back to his homeland. Hello and welcome to A Journey in Perception, your go-to destination for engaging book summaries, insightful reviews, and thought-provoking discussions. Our concise and entertaining summaries make it easy for you to grasp the key takeaways from popular titles and hidden gems alike. Subscribe for weekly content that will not only enhance your literary knowledge, but also inspire your next great read. In this video, we'll take you through each chapter, summarizing Al-Mustafa's powerful messages and showing you how his wisdom can still transform our everyday lives. Whether you're seeking spiritual growth, guidance, or just a new perspective on life's challenges, stay tuned. This book might just change the way you see the world. Chapter 1. The Coming of the Ship. Imagine waiting 12 long years for a journey back home. What would it feel like when the moment finally arrives? This is the story that begins The Prophet. The chapter opens with Al-Mustafa, the Prophet, preparing to return to his homeland after 12 years in the city of Orphalese. As he sees his ship coming, he reflects on his time in the city, his joy, pain, and loneliness. The people of Orphalese, including the wise seeress Al-Mitra, ask him to share his wisdom before he departs. The chapter invites us to reflect on moments of transition in our own lives and the emotions that come with leaving a place of growth and hardship. This chapter beautifully sets the stage for the rest of the book, as Al-Mustafa prepares to impart his spiritual teachings to the people before his journey. Next, we dive into Al-Mustafa's teachings, beginning with one of the most powerful topics, love. Chapter 2, on love. What does it truly mean to love deeply beyond the romantic ideals we often think about? Al-Mustafa's wisdom on love is profound. Al-Mustafa tells the people that love is both joy and pain. It elevates us but also tests us, pruning us like a tree to reveal our true essence. He advises that when love beckons, we should follow it, even though it may bring hardship. Love, as Gibran explains, is not just a source of happiness, but a force of transformation. Instead of fearing the challenges it brings, embrace love fully, knowing that it helps you grow. This chapter reminds us that love is complex and multifaceted, and the pain we may feel in love is necessary for our personal and spiritual evolution. Al-Mustafa's next lesson addresses another significant relationship, marriage. Chapter 3, on marriage. What's the secret to a happy marriage? Is it togetherness or giving each other space? Let's hear what the Prophet has to say. Al-Mustafa advises couples to love each other deeply but maintain individuality. Let there be spaces in your togetherness. He uses the analogy of two pillars holding up a temple. Each person should stand strong on their own while supporting one another. Healthy relationships require both intimacy and independence. In your marriage or partnership, nurture love, but also allow each other room to grow. This chapter teaches us that the key to lasting relationships lies in balancing closeness with personal space, fostering mutual respect. The next chapter focuses on one of life's greatest responsibilities, raising children. Chapter 4, on children. Your children are not truly yours. They belong to life itself. This thought-provoking chapter challenges traditional ideas about parenting. Al-Mustafa tells the people that children come through their parents, but they do not belong to them. Parents can guide their children, but they must not impose their own desires on them, as children have their own paths to follow. As a parent, understand that your role is to nurture and guide, not to control. Allow your children the freedom to become who they are meant to be. This chapter shifts our perspective on parenthood, urging us to see our children as individuals on their own journeys, not extensions of ourselves. Up next, the Prophet shares his thoughts on generosity and the act of giving. Chapter 5, on giving. What does it mean to give selflessly? In this chapter, Al-Mustafa uncovers the deeper truth behind generosity. Al-Mustafa explains that true giving comes not from excess, but from the heart. It's not about giving possessions, but about giving of oneself. He emphasizes that the joy of giving is a greater reward than the material gifts themselves. The next time you give, whether it's your time, money, or support, do it with joy and without expecting anything in return. This transforms giving into a spiritual act. This chapter is a beautiful reminder that giving enriches both the giver and the receiver, and that generosity is more about intention than quantity. Now we shift to a topic that touches us all, our relationship with food and drink. Chapter 6, on eating and drinking. Have you ever thought of eating as an act of worship? Al-Mustafa presents a spiritual perspective on our daily nourishment. Al-Mustafa encourages the people to treat eating as a sacred act, where they acknowledge the life given by the earth and animals for their sustenance. He reminds them that consuming food and drink should be done with mindfulness and gratitude. Approach meals with reverence. Take a moment to be thankful for the food you have and the life that sustains it. This chapter turns a simple everyday activity into a moment of spiritual awareness, reminding us to be more mindful of the food we eat. Al-Mustafa now addresses a topic many of us grapple with, our relationship to work. Chapter 7, on work. Is work a curse or a blessing? Al-Mustafa offers a perspective that might change the way you view your job forever. Al-Mustafa says that work is love made visible. It's a way of expressing our creativity and contributing to the world. He encourages people to find joy and purpose in their work, as it is through labor that they connect with life. Instead of viewing work as a burden, see it as an opportunity to serve and express your talents. Align your efforts with love and passion. This chapter challenges the common perception of work as merely a means to an end, urging us to find fulfillment and joy in our daily labor. Next, Al-Mustafa explores the balance between joy and sorrow, two emotions that are often intertwined. Chapter 8, on joy and sorrow. What if joy and sorrow are two sides of the same coin? Al-Mustafa dives deep into this connection. Al-Mustafa explains that joy and sorrow are inseparable. The deeper your sorrow carves into your soul, the more joy you can contain. He encourages people to accept sorrow as part of the journey, as it gives depth to their experience of joy. In moments of sorrow, remember that it is creating space for greater joy. Embrace both emotions as part of life's fullness. This chapter brings comfort by reminding us that sorrow isn't something to avoid. It's a necessary part of growing and appreciating the beauty of joy. Now, let's see what Al-Mustafa has to say about the homes we live in. Chapter 9, on houses. Is your home a place of comfort or confinement? Al-Mustafa challenges our relationship with the physical spaces we occupy. Al-Mustafa likens a house to a larger version of the body, growing in the sun and resting in the night. He urges people not to let their homes become prisons, but rather to live freely within them. He encourages building houses with love, so they nurture the soul rather than trap it. Treat your home as a sanctuary, but avoid letting it become a place of stagnation. Make sure it supports your growth, creativity, and freedom. This chapter reminds us to build our homes with intention, making them places that foster well-being rather than just shelters for our bodies. The Prophet next shares his thoughts on something we all use every day, clothes. Chapter 10, on clothes. Do clothes liberate or limit us? Al-Mustafa has a unique take on how we dress and express ourselves. Al-Mustafa suggests that clothes conceal much of our beauty, but they also cannot hide the unbeautiful. He advises people to let their clothing serve as protection, but not as a way to hide who they truly are. Wear your clothes not as a disguise, but as a way to enhance your authentic self. Let your inner beauty shine through. This chapter makes us rethink our relationship with fashion, encouraging authenticity over mere appearance. Al-Mustafa then speaks on the complex world of buying and selling. Chapter 11, on buying and selling. Is it possible to make trade a sacred act? Al-Mustafa reveals how exchanging goods can be about more than just money. Al-Mustafa encourages people to approach trade with fairness and integrity, reminding them that buying and selling should benefit both the giver and the receiver. He stresses that the exchange of goods should not just be a transaction, but a form of mutual respect and gratitude. When you engage in trade, whether in business or personal transactions, ensure it's fair and conducted with love and justice. Approach your exchanges with a sense of generosity, not just focused on profit. This chapter reframes the way we think about commerce. It's not just about financial gain, but about creating a deeper connection and respect between people through trade. Up next, the prophet tackles the complex subject of crime and punishment, providing a perspective that challenges conventional justice. Chapter 12, on crime and punishment. What does it mean to commit a crime, and how should we understand punishment? The prophet's view might surprise you. Al-Mustafa argues that crime is often the result of a deeper wound in the spirit. He explains that the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of society as a whole. He suggests that punishment should not be about revenge, but understanding and healing, as every wrongdoing affects both the individual and the community. When someone wrongs you, try to approach the situation with understanding rather than punishment. Recognize that crime comes from pain, and healing should be the goal of any justice. This chapter challenges traditional ideas about justice and punishment, reminding us that forgiveness and understanding can lead to transformation rather than endless cycles of retribution. Next, Al-Mustafa discusses the importance of laws, but from a deeply spiritual perspective. Chapter 13, on laws. Why do we create laws, and why do we love to break them? Al-Mustafa dives into the human relationship with rules and regulations. Al-Mustafa observes that people love creating laws, but they also love breaking them. He compares lawmaking to children building sandcastles only to knock them down. He urges people to live not by man-made laws, but by the higher laws of nature and spirit, which cannot be captured in written codes. Follow your inner moral compass rather than blindly following societal rules. The laws that guide your soul are more important than the ones written by man. This chapter reminds us that while laws can provide structure, true freedom and integrity come from living in harmony with the laws of nature and spirit. In the next chapter, we explore the idea of freedom, what it means, and how to truly achieve it. Chapter 14, on freedom. Is freedom just the absence of chains, or is it something deeper? Al-Mustafa gives us a new perspective on true liberation. Al-Mustafa warns that what many consider freedom is often just another kind of bondage. He explains that true freedom is not about breaking chains, but freeing oneself from inner limitations and desires. He tells the people that they will only be free when they rise above the need to seek freedom as an external goal. Reflect on what freedom means to you. Are you truly free, or are you still bound by internal fears, desires, or societal expectations? Seek liberation from within. This chapter teaches us that true freedom is an internal state, not something that can be granted by external forces. It's about overcoming our inner attachments and desires. Al-Mustafa next addresses the balance between reason and passion, two forces that often conflict in our lives. Chapter 15, on reason and passion. Can we balance reason and passion, or are we doomed to live torn between the two? The prophet offers a way to harmonize these powerful forces. Al-Mustafa compares reason to the rudder of a ship and passion to the sails. He explains that both are necessary, but they must be in balance for the ship to sail properly. He advises that reason should govern passion, but passion should also elevate reason, leading to a more balanced and fulfilled life. In your daily decisions, don't let reason suppress your passion, but don't let passion overpower your reason. Balance both forces to navigate life with purpose and joy. This chapter reminds us that neither reason nor passion should dominate our lives. Instead, a harmonious balance between the two can lead to wisdom and fulfillment. Next, Al-Mustafa addresses one of life's inevitable experiences, pain. Chapter 16, on pain. How can we find meaning in pain? Al-Mustafa shows us that even suffering has a purpose. Al-Mustafa tells the people that pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses their understanding. He explains that just as fruit must be broken to reveal its seeds, pain reveals the deeper parts of ourselves. He encourages people to accept pain as part of life, as it leads to growth and self-awareness. Instead of resisting pain, embrace it as part of your journey. Understand that pain often leads to greater self-knowledge and transformation. This chapter teaches us that pain is not something to avoid, but a necessary part of the process of growth and self-discovery. In the following chapter, Al-Mustafa reflects on the importance of knowing oneself. Chapter 17, on self-knowledge. Do you truly know yourself? Al-Mustafa offers deep insights into the path of self-discovery. Al-Mustafa explains that people often seek to know themselves through words and labels, but true self-knowledge lies beyond what can be measured or spoken. He encourages people to embrace the mystery of their own souls, acknowledging that self-knowledge is infinite and ever unfolding. Don't limit yourself to the labels and definitions you or others place on you. Explore the depths of who you are, understanding that self-knowledge is a lifelong journey. This chapter inspires us to go beyond the surface-level understanding of ourselves and dive into the mysteries of our inner being. Al-Mustafa next speaks on teaching, offering insights for both students and teachers alike. Chapter 18, on teaching. What does it mean to truly teach? Al-Mustafa's words show that the best teachers don't fill students with knowledge. They help them discover their own wisdom. Al-Mustafa explains that no one can truly teach another. Teachers can only help students discover the wisdom that already lies within them. He advises that true teaching is about guiding others to the door of their own minds, rather than filling them with information. If you're a teacher, focus on helping others discover their own truths, rather than imposing your knowledge on them. As a learner, understand that wisdom comes from within. This chapter reminds us that the best teaching empowers students to think and grow independently, helping them unlock their own potential. Al-Mustafa now turns to the topic of friendship, offering profound reflections on this vital relationship. Chapter 19, on friendship. Is your friendship based on need or on true connection? Al-Mustafa reveals the deeper meaning of friendship. Al-Mustafa says that friends are not just there to meet our needs, but to share in the fullness of life. He advises that true friendship is about mutual growth, understanding, and joy. He warns against seeking friends only for companionship or comfort, encouraging people to let friendship be a source of spiritual nourishment. In your friendships, aim to give as much as you receive. True friendship is about enriching each other's lives, not just fulfilling emotional needs. This chapter helps us reevaluate our friendships, reminding us that the best relationships are built on shared growth and mutual support. In the next chapter, Al-Mustafa reflects on the nature of conversation and communication. Chapter 20, on talking. Why do we talk? Al-Mustafa challenges us to speak only when we can improve upon silence. Al-Mustafa explains that many people talk to escape their own thoughts, using conversation as a way to avoid being alone with themselves. He encourages people to speak only when their words have meaning, advising that thoughtful silence is often more valuable than empty words. Be mindful of your words. Speak only when you have something meaningful to say, and don't be afraid of silence. It's often where the deepest truths are found. This chapter is a reminder to embrace silence as a source of wisdom and to avoid using conversation as a distraction from our inner world. Now, Al-Mustafa discusses time and how it affects our lives and perceptions. Chapter 21, on time. Is time real, or is it just a construct of the mind? Al-Mustafa offers a timeless perspective on time itself. Al-Mustafa tells the people that time is not something that can be measured. It is eternal. He explains that past, present, and future are all connected, and true existence is beyond the limitations of time. He encourages people to live fully in the present, understanding that life is eternal and each moment holds the essence of all time. Let go of the obsession with time. Live in the present, understanding that every moment is connected to eternity. This chapter teaches us to stop worrying about the passage of time and to focus on being fully present in the now. In the next chapter, Al-Mustafa tackles the dualities of good and evil, providing a spiritual perspective on the nature of morality. Chapter 22, on good and evil. Is good the opposite of evil, or are they intertwined? Al-Mustafa challenges the way we traditionally view morality. Al-Mustafa explains that good and evil are not opposites, but are interdependent, much like light and shadow. He suggests that good cannot exist without the presence of what we call evil. He also states that even those who appear wicked are doing what they believe to be right from their perspective. Instead of seeing the world in black and white terms of good versus evil, try to understand that both are part of the same whole. Recognize that every person has a mixture of light and shadow. This chapter offers a powerful shift in perspective, teaching us to approach life with more compassion and understanding for both the good and bad within ourselves and others. Next, we explore prayer and what it truly means to connect with the divine. Chapter 23, On Prayer. Is prayer about asking for what you want, or is it something deeper? Al-Mustafa reveals the true purpose of prayer. Al-Mustafa advises that prayer should not be about asking for things, but about becoming one with the divine. He explains that true prayer is a way to align with the eternal flow of life. He encourages people to let their prayers be born from their longing for connection, not from a desire for material gain. Next time you pray, focus less on asking for specific outcomes and more on aligning your spirit with the greater flow of life. Let prayer be a form of communion, not just a request. This chapter helps us rethink the purpose of prayer, encouraging us to use it as a tool for deep spiritual connection rather than as a way to fulfill personal desires. Al-Mustafa now reflects on pleasure, offering a balanced view of indulgence and discipline. Chapter 24, On Pleasure. Is pleasure a distraction from the spiritual path, or can it be part of it? Al-Mustafa shows us how to enjoy life without losing ourselves. Al-Mustafa tells the people that pleasure is not something to be shunned but embraced as part of life's richness. However, he warns against letting pleasure control us. He explains that pleasure should be enjoyed with gratitude, not as a means of escape from life's deeper meaning. Embrace life's pleasures, but with mindfulness. Don't let indulgence become a way to numb yourself. Enjoy each moment with awareness and gratitude. This chapter gives us permission to enjoy life's pleasures while reminding us not to let them distract us from our higher purpose. Up next, Al-Mustafa delves into the concept of beauty, revealing its deeper spiritual significance. Chapter 25, On Beauty. What is beauty? Is it something we see with our eyes, or something we feel with our souls? Al-Mustafa uncovers the true essence of beauty. Al-Mustafa explains that beauty is not in the object, but in the soul of the beholder. He advises people to find beauty in everything, from nature to human beings, recognizing that beauty is a reflection of the divine. He suggests that beauty is not just something external, but something that connects us to a deeper understanding of life. Train yourself to see beauty in everyday life, not just in traditionally beautiful things. Recognize that beauty exists in every moment and every being. This chapter challenges us to look beyond physical appearances and embrace beauty as a spiritual force that connects us to the divine. Now, Al-Mustafa offers his wisdom on religion, providing a unique perspective on spiritual practice. Chapter 26 on religion. Is religion about rules, or is it about a deeper connection with the divine? Al-Mustafa invites us to rethink our understanding of faith. Al-Mustafa argues that true religion is not about dogma or rituals, but about experiencing the divine in everyday life. He explains that each person's path to the divine is unique and should not be dictated by others. He encourages people to find their own way to connect with the divine, rather than blindly following the teachings of religious leaders. Don't limit your spiritual practice to religious rituals or dogma. Seek a direct and personal connection with the divine that transcends religious boundaries. This chapter liberates us from the constraints of organized religion, encouraging us to forge our own spiritual path and find the divine in all aspects of life. Al-Mustafa now addresses death, offering a comforting and profound perspective on life's final transition. Chapter 27, On Death. Is death the end, or is it simply another beginning? Al-Mustafa offers a comforting and spiritual view of death. Al-Mustafa tells the people that death is not the end of life, but a continuation of the journey. He explains that the soul does not die, but moves on to another realm, where it becomes one with the eternal. He encourages people to see death as a transition rather than something to be feared, reminding them that life and death are part of the same eternal cycle. Instead of fearing death, embrace it as a natural part of life's journey. Understand that your soul is eternal and will continue beyond the physical body. This chapter offers profound comfort in the face of death, reminding us that it is not something to fear but a passage into the next stage of existence. In the final chapter, Al-Mustafa bids farewell to the people of Orphalese, offering his final words of wisdom. Chapter 28, The Farewell. After sharing his wisdom, Al-Mustafa is ready to depart. What are his final words to the people of Orphalese? As Al-Mustafa prepares to board his ship and return to his homeland, he reflects on the love and connection he has shared with the people of Orphalese. His parting message is one of gratitude and love, as he reminds the people to live in harmony with themselves and the world around them. Reflect on the relationships and experiences that have shaped your life. As you move forward, carry gratitude and love in your heart for the connections you've made. This final chapter leaves us with a sense of peace and closure, as Al-Mustafa's journey comes full circle. It reminds us to carry the lessons we've learned with us as we continue on our own paths. Conclusion: Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet is a timeless collection of wisdom that touches on almost every facet of human existence: love, work, freedom, pain, and death. Al-Mustafa's parting words to the people of Orphalese invite us to live with depth, mindfulness, and gratitude. Through his poetic reflections, we learn that life's greatest truths often lie in balance, between joy and sorrow, freedom and responsibility, individuality and community. Some key lessons from the book include: love and freedom in relationships. Al-Mustafa teaches that true love, whether in marriage or friendship, requires giving each other space to grow, much like the pillars of a temple that stand apart to support the same roof. Practical application. In your relationships, practice giving love with openness and without the need to control or possess the other person. Allow your partner or friend the freedom to evolve while sharing life's joys and challenges. Work as a form of worship. He suggests that work is not just about earning a living, but is an expression of love and devotion. Practical application. Shift your perspective on work. Whatever your role or task, approach it with intention and passion, treating it as a way to contribute meaningfully to the world. Pain as a teacher. One of the most profound lessons is that pain is not an enemy, but a teacher. Al-Mustafa reminds us that sorrow carves deeper spaces within us to allow for greater joy. Practical application. The next time you encounter pain, instead of resisting it, try to embrace it as part of your growth. Understand that experiencing sorrow allows you to experience life's fullness, including its greatest joys. Beauty beyond the physical. Al-Mustafa challenges us to look for beauty not just in physical appearances, but in everything around us, including the people and moments we encounter every day. Practical application. Train yourself to notice beauty in the ordinary, whether it's in nature, in a smile, or even in a difficult moment. Beauty connects us to the divine in all things. This book leaves us with a sense of peace and spiritual awakening, showing us that life's mysteries are not meant to be solved, but lived with grace, compassion, and presence. If you found this summary helpful, be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more insightful book reviews. I would also love to hear suggestions and books you'll like summarized. Please share them in the comments. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you'll always be updated with our latest content. Thank you for watching, and we hope The Prophet inspires you as much as it has inspired generations of readers.